settings, but I think audio might still survive. Still freaking out. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna quit the trio. That was probably a bad idea. Okay. Let me know if you can hear me now. Try refreshing. Try refreshing. Let me know as soon as you can hear my voice. It would be wonderful to see and make sure you guys are doing okay, that you can hear me, that you can see me, etc., 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 etc. Because I'm pretty sure that Tetrio was the worst decision that I could have made. I feel like it just completely overloaded my CPU, which is sad because I think it would have been cool, but that's okay. We can worry about that another time. All right, here I am. Are we still waiting? Unity, what are you doing? What is Unity doing? Let me know as soon as you can hear me and see me. Might try again. Okay, all right, thanks. I was just gonna like keep talking. Okay. Let me know as soon as you hear me say this. Butterscotch. Type that in chat for me, will ya? Whoever's out there. Butterscotch. Okay, so we got a new build. Let's do some shenaniganery with the build. You don't need to see all of that stuff. You don't need to see that. Okay, so I'll do one of these where I do this little thing. And where the heck did that window? Oh no, I know what I can do. Scutterbotch. Alright, I mean that's not too bad. That's like 10-second delay or whatever. Not too bad. Let's rename you to TD Wars. Here we go. Apologize for the problems there. Yes. And if you stuck it through and you're still here, thank you for hanging out while I get this stuff figured out. Okay, so I just need, I think I can just upload, let's do the whole thing. Let's just build. Nope. Cannot be moved to this location. Of course you can't. Of course, Dreamweaver, you're gonna make things difficult. Always gonna be a butt. Dreamweaver should be called Dream Smasher. Alright, let's see what happens if I just upload these guys. Let's see how my CPU is doing over here. Should probably just keep that up. Keep an eye on it. CPU is only at 56%, 40%, even good. What's up, Dylan? We are slow rolling our way to a sort of tower defense plus type of thing. If you want, you can check out the game here. That's actually not the right version of it, so don't hang on. It's actually TD Wars. Just make sure that it works on my end first, because I just changed the link. Actually, why Dreamweaver? Why? Oh right, I need to upload everything. Duh. Dream Destroyer. Dreamweaver is like the web dev tool from Adobe. I'm sure Dylan knows all about Dreamweaver. I'm sure he has his opinions. It's still gonna say aggressive defense down there, but cool. This touch mode active. It's cool. So I'm gonna try this on my phone in a minute, but this is the actual link. I'll fix Nightbot. Just give me a sec. Cool beans. And I will tell it to get rid of TV Plus because that's not a thing anymore. Oh yeah. I mean, I just like having the FTP setup and the code writing in one place. It's really the only reason why I use Dreamweaver. And also just the fact that I don't do it very often, so I don't really feel the need to nitpick or whatever. Let's see how it works on phone now, because I was really curious that would work. Yeah, I used to use FileZilla too. TheBarkingOtter.com. I don't know why I feel like I have to say TheBarkingOtter.com in a really weird place, or a really weird voice. TD Wars. Let's see how this does. Cool. Yeah, you should be able to unfold the spawn at cursor and click this little button, and then it should work on your phone. You should be able to tap and place stuff. You won't be able to interact with like fields, or I think, yeah, I guess you're gonna have kind of a hard time with the sliders too. But technically you can use the sliders as well. True. VS Code probably does have extensions, that is true. Alright, so yeah, we got a little bit of mobile capability there. Thanks again for helping me experiment with this stuff. Alright, so let's make this actually game-like, because right now it's a bit of a mess. So I am gonna put some big old walls down. And where am I gonna put those walls? How big are they gonna be? Let's do 10. 10. I guess I don't need that direction. Probably wouldn't use Dreamweaver. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Let's do 16.9 here. Position of -20. And Y value of, say, 1. And then Z value of 0. Z-axis, let's go 100. So it should basically cover an entire area here, and then we'll just sort of duplicate that guy. Interesting, I'm using Chrome for my tests. Firefox might arguably be even better because it is Mozilla technology after all. Create folder. Okay, so let's create some prefabs here. Let's make a wall prefab. Just duplicate that. Flop it over on the other side. +20, let's say. Okay, I mean, Dylan, if you feel like figuring out why it's not working, that would be helpful for me, but no obligation is the word I'm looking for. No obligation. So yeah, okay, so now we just want to create a little spawner for enemies to be generated. So this one's going to be a bit trickier, I think, but we can make it work. Let's go with spawner. I'll call it area spawner. Oh, I see. Are you saying the touch doesn't work? Pressing Q to place towers, or towers. Yeah, that should work on desktop. I don't think the touch input is going to work on desktop. So sorry if that's what you meant. Then that's actually normal. Okay, let's close a bunch of this stuff. Let's pull up area spawner. Or not. Come on, Visual Studio. Get it together. Get it together, VS. Oh, I think one thing I want to do before I forget about it is I want to adjust the input settings to be slightly less terrible. Just a bit. Just a smidge less terrible. You know how it goes. GUI controller. No, it's not that one. It's the input controller. See, I don't think I want to do the whole GUI rectangle thing. This and that. Maybe I'll just let it go that way. I think that'll actually do exactly what I need it to do, but I'll double check as soon as I can. Yes, I need to tell Dropbox to lay off. I pause. Till tomorrow. That sounds good. I don't know. The EDM's okay. Let's go for just plain chill. Oh, cute. Might delete later. Alright. Import? Working? Unity's stuck doing something. There we go. Figured it out. Alright. Give it a little test here. How are we liking the debug output? It is, okay. Yeah, I think what sort of stinks about this is anytime I do a build, the processor's gonna get overworked a little bit. So it might cause little spikes. Wonder what I can do about that. Yeah, okay. So at least you get this sort of nice-ish output. I wonder if I can do anything to give it a background though. Check something out here. Unity GUI layout. I think I need to sort of refresh myself on GUI styles a little bit. It's actually not a GUI layout thing so much as a GUI style, maybe layout option? Set layout utility, GUI settings. I know it's one of these. Cursor color, cursor flash speed. Buy a second PC? Sure. Sure. I do need a better processor, honestly. It's a bit dated. Don't even ask. Yeah, I've actually heard of people with setups where they have like a streaming PC that's entirely separate from their main rig. That sounds great, but I have no idea how to set that up. GUI skin. Yeah, that's right, GUI skin. GUI skin is it's a inspectable thing, right? I seem to recall you could sort of set a lot of it up in the inspector. Needs horizontal scroll bar, vertical scroll bar. What I really want to know, though, I think it ultimately boils down to styles. I want to know if there's a simple way to do a background. Just normal and active on rendering settings, adding overflow, word wrap, draw cursor, style. Not really seeing a lot of it. Settings for the element is press down. I see border. Cool. Alright, yeah, I'll try a GUI skin then. That could solve a lot of the issues, or at least make it easy to work with stuff. Let's see. Let's put it here. Serialize build. Private GUI skin. Just have to say GUI.skin equals skin. I can say skin dot stand here. Is it like GUI.skin? I guess I could just pull from it initially and then make it editable. That might work. GUI depth is not allowed to be called from mono behavior. Okay, I'm sure that was probably important to someone, but not really so much to me. Alright, let's create a GUI skin. Right, yeah, I'm remembering now. GUI skin. And then you plug in here. And most of what I'm gonna do... I guess that's the thing, is I wish I could easily grab... Yeah. Let's just do it for label. Let's say that normally text color scaled back. Okay, I have to actually pick a texture. Tune gradients. Rich navy. What if I did navy albedo? Let's see what that looks like. I just kind of want to give it a quick look. Probably not going to spend too much time on this. We're still kind of skirting the actual game development a little bit here, so let's switch over to spawn area spawn or whatever. Okay, so I need to refresh my memory on what random stuff we have access to. So I want it to be a little bit random, so we can get it inside of a unit sphere. Sort of in the ballpark of what I'm going for. Rotation uniform, seed, nature, color, HSV, random range. Right. Okay. I got it. Get some actual gameplay here. Okay, let's make this simple, shall we? Private, float. Or is there like a range? I feel like there's a range. Describes an integer range. Sure. X range. And Y range. Excuse me. And then we'll do, excuse me again, burpee, I'm sorry. Serialize field, can't spell. Private game object spawn prefab again. And let's see. Private void awake. Make this easy, like I said. Serialize field private float spawn interval. Look, Kamal, it's gonna be a tower defense with extra. I have a feeling I'm not gonna get to any of the extra today. A lot of today has been like, let's figure out how to get this to work right. Sort of filling in little things that I, you know, want to improve, but the extra was gonna be multiplayer with the ability to like send things to your opponents or the next guy in row. So that's why we're calling it TD Wars, Tower Defense Wars. Spawn prefab, let's do null. Spawn interval is gonna be, let's say, every 10 seconds for now. And then we'll say create a certain number of them all at once. So int wave size equal, I don't know. Let's do 10, shall we? Can the extra be pigeons? Throw some pigeons in there and just, sure. There's no reason why not. Equals new range int. Start and length. Yeah, okay. So, I don't even know, man. In the X direction, we're gonna do positive 10, negative 10. In the Y direction, we're gonna do positive 1, or negative 1, positive 1. Or, no, it's int range, right? Default networking from Unity? You mean that, Dylan? I'm surprised to hear you say that. Okay, it's actually minimum and range, so it should be negative 10, 20, and then negative 1, 2. Okay, and I'm gonna use, I set it up in 3D. It's actually simpler to do in Unity than anything else. 2D takes more work, generally speaking. Well, let's do invoke repeating. I don't know what I'm going to call the function. Let's call it spawn, I guess. And spawn interval. Repeat rate. Then repeatedly every repeat rate second, so same number. Oh yeah, totally, and that's true of pretty much every modern game engine at this point. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with networking in Unity. I would be willing to try it, but not today. Okay, so for int I equals 0, I is less than wave size plus I. Let's create another function here. Private void spawn. Let's call it spawn wave actually. Spawn. Here we'll say actually rather than spawn, let's do private void. Yeah, Unity is working on that stuff. They've already overhauled it a couple of times, I feel like, though, so who knows what's gonna happen. Let's do vector3 get random position in range. So we're gonna say float x equals random.range between xrange.min start xrange.end. But I want them to be floats. The only player controls it through button presses. Yeah, true. Yep. It's like, it's set up really simply for basically a player authoritative stuff. But anything that needs actual security or anything even slightly complicated is like cool. Yeah, it's good to hear that the new thing is good, but I'm just saying it's they've tried. They keep trying. Y position equals 1, let's say. Return new vector3 x y position z. So we'll say vector3 spawn position equals get random position range, spawn with that position. Vector3 world position. Okay, so then here is where we're going to do a little check that says if spawn prefab is null, and kind of like we did on the spawn at cursor one. A bunch of that. Here it is. Oops. But instead of a cube, let's do a capsule. Capsule goes there. Collider, I think we do want. Position is good. We're not going to worry about scale. But we do also need to add a nav mesh component. Nav mesh agent, which I believe requires an include using Unity Engine navigation. Is it not navigation? Is it AI? It is, okay. We add the nav mesh agent. Add navigation components. We need the nav mesh because these guys are going to need to create paths around these towers and stuff. Which, come to think of it, I think I need to... I think link sharing is on. I think you should be able to do it. If not, I'll deal with it. We actually have to do a little bit of background work before we get too far on this. Alright, so what I gotta do is add nav mesh to this guy. What's this? What we got? What we got going on? Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, okay. Unsupported includes unsupported custom netcode. What? Okay. Sure. No validation features back. So basically, they're like, here, we're gonna make a thing with stuff that we aren't gonna give you yet, and now 2 years later, we still don't have it. That's kind of funny. But that's cool. I'll check it out later for sure. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, so I think there's a window, right? AI here. Navigation. Alright, let's select this object. Area walkable. Want to... Okay, do they have it open in beta? That's cool. Nav mesh. No. Been a minute here, so okay, do I have to go to bake? Bake. Yeah, Pretzel is a bot, Kamal, yes. Pretzel is a bot bringing you music, telling you who's doing it. Do not bake. Why you not bake? Oh, I have to make it static, that's right. Static. Bake. Okay, and then I have to make these static as well. Boom. And then bake again. Cool. If you look super close, you can see that the blue area kind of drops a little bit short of the walls. That's the navigation system detecting the collision. Yeah, they have been better about sharing their open, sort of like sharing source code and stuff for sure. Actually, now that I think about it, the walls, I don't want them to even think of that as navigatable. So let's remove the walls there, right? Or do I have to have them? Static. Oh, I guess I do. Never mind. Taking it back. Let's put you static. Yep. And then bake one more time. Cool. I think I might have the option to make them unwalkable. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, navigation is there, and that's good. Now, anytime I drop a new object on which has this component, navmesh, it's going to know that it can walk there, and use that for navigation. So I think really what I need is to give it a destination as well. So serialize field, private, transform, goal object equals null. Because what I want to do is, as soon as I've added that nav mesh component, does this return a reference to the component? It does, okay. Nav mesh agent, nav agent equals that. Because now what I can do is I can say, hey, newly created object, I want you to go. Move to my relative movement. Oh no, that's not the function I want. Set destination, maybe. Destination will be target object, goal object. Is that what I called it? Goal object dot position. Go toward the goal. So they're going to spawn. There's going to be like 10 of them in a wave. Every 10 seconds, this is going to happen. They're going to be all within this sort of rectangular area, and then they're all going to be told to move, and I'm going to tell them where to move in a sec. Let's add one more thing here, which will be very useful for us, I think. It's private void. Is it selected. Yeah, on draw gizmos selected. This will draw stuff in the editor when I'm there, which is pretty useful. Gizmos.draw. Can I do like a wire cube? Yeah. Okay. Do wire cube. Actually, I don't know if this is gonna work the way I need it to, because it's gonna be a different range possibly than this. Can I do draw here, wire mesh sphere? Okay, I think I know what I want to do. I'll create a new rect. A rectangle equals, let's see, new rect with x range dot start. Is this going to be vectors, or can I do it with floats? Yeah, totally. Hear you. X, Y. Yeah, okay, that actually seems right. Change that start. No, not happy. It's an int. Can I convert from int to vector 2? That's not what I'm doing anyway. Y range dot start. X range dot length. Y range dot length. Yeah? You're not happy? Name Y range does not. Oh, it's Z range, excuse me. There we go. And then we'll do gizmos.draw line from area rect dot x. Sorry, trying to like visualize this. Okay, hang on. Let me do this a different way. Vector 3 top left equals this dot transform dot position plus new vector 3. Do I wear a tie in my house? Only for streams. I don't wear them that often anymore. I don't have any reason to dress up, you know? So I might as well make one for myself. Deal. Everyone's holiday tie. Got a little everything. I don't know how easily you can see that. Do I wear a tie? Yeah. New vector 3 of x range dot start, y range dot start. Top left, top right will be this, except it'll be dot end. Keep doing y. I should be doing z here. Duplicate that. This will be bottom left. This will be bottom right. Start end. And end. So then I'm just drawing lines between them all. Gizmos.draw line from top left, top right, and then from top right to bottom right. No. Yeah, I guess that's fine. From bottom right to bottom left, and from bottom left, top. That should draw everything in a little box so that we can see the actual area and make sure that it makes sense. I don't like wearing ties. I got a bow tie that I keep meaning to like actually go back and relearn how to tie. So eventually I'll try to figure that out for you guys. Or maybe it's not for you. It's probably just for me. That's fine too. Alright, let's call this spawn area. Whoops, spawn area. Let's call it, or attach to it, the area spawner. Spawn preview is none, goal object is none. If I select you and I zoom in, you kind of see the little area. I'm realizing now that I should put a 0 for the Y, because I think it's drawing it sideways. It's thinking that I'm wanting it the other way. So let's do one of these. back in the days where coming into the office. Yeah, true. True. Alright, now it's gonna draw it vertically, or not vertically, horizontally is the word I meant. And then we're gonna put it at 10, let's say, or no, not -10 there. Do 1 here, and then -30 or something. What is the actual, like, where is right at the edge of screen? Can I draw gizmos here? I can't. So I'll just have it like right off screen. Say -26. Seems good. We can throw that there, and then goal object. We need a goal object, so let's create a new one. Goal. Let's put it at 0, 1. I'm realizing they're all going to sort of converge toward the center, so I'll probably change that a little bit. I don't have an otter tie. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. No, I don't. And then I think that should be enough that we can get some kind of movement happening. Maybe. We'll find out. Okay, so we got some errors here. GUI is failing, but normally I can probably check that. Oh, right, I never assigned the goal object, so they're gonna freak out. Guess that was one of my enemies. I don't know where he came from. But let's grab spawn area and attach goal object. Come on, buddy. Alright, we got no errors, any serious consequence. After 10 seconds, they should. That was obviously not the right place, and I know exactly why, but that's the sort of behavior that we can expect. They are aware of each other's presence, they avoid each other, and that kind of stuff. Alright, the reason why it didn't spawn in the right place is because I didn't give it an offset, which is the center of this object. This dot transform dot position dot x plus that, and this dot transform. Wait, hang on. How does it work? Yeah, dot position dot x plus that, and the same thing will happen down here. I guess I don't need to specify it has to be a float because this is already a float, so it's going to force that anyway. Wait a second, I'm also a bit curious what this is trying to do. Call in awake or start. GUI depth is not allowed to be called from a model behavior constructor. Okay. Okay. I think you're trying to tell me that you don't like this, which is fine, because it didn't really go anywhere anyway. Nope, not what I wanted. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. How are the pigeons in your neighborhood, Kamal? Good? You good? Okay, waiting for Unity. I'll call this the waiting for Unity script. Or waiting for Unity script stream. Does end up being slightly less hype when I have to just stare at a loading bar constantly, so I apologize for that. See how it does though. How it does. How it do. There we go. So that's gonna give us kind of the behavior that we sort of want. Although I can make this a little bit better pretty quickly here, because instead of just goal object dot position, right? I think what I want to do is slightly modify that. Okay, so let's say world position dot, and I'm just gonna make this easy. World position dot z equals goal object dot transform, or no, I think it is a transform, dot position dot z, and I'll say let's throw you there. And basically the difference here is that instead of all going at the exact same point, I'm just going to use the z-axis part of that position, but allow the x to still be sort of in this range, which is going to allow them to basically all run straight instead of all running toward the center, if that makes sense. The other thing that we need to do, and I hope this works, find out, I say that a lot, is these cubes that we create, aka the towers, I want to make them nav mesh obstacles, which means I think we need them to have the collider. So let's sort of skip this. Say cube dot add component nav mesh. I think I need to include AI again. Using Unity engine dot AI. Nav mesh obstacle. Which I think by default, I don't know if I actually have to set anything up on a nav mesh obstacle. I think the default settings are okay, but I guess I better check. But the idea with this nav mesh obstacle is it'll carve out the navigatable area around it, because otherwise I'd place the towers and the enemies wouldn't even know they're there. They would just try to walk right through them. So I gotta make sure that they understand that they can't walk through them. Okay, so if I were to select a ball and add a component nav mesh obstacle, and that's the thing that's weird, is that it has a box for carve, but I thought that was the whole point. I select you, I go to navigation, I create sort of a dummy object. 3D object cube. Put nav mesh obstacle here. Here, obviously not the spot. Put you at 0, 1, 5. Not carve. I have to turn on carve. Hold stationary, stationary. I don't know what that means. But you can see it sort of takes that little box out. As you move it around, it'll keep doing that. That's kind of the thing that we're going for. So that sort of tells me I do have to set one thing up. And that is nav mesh. I could do auto. Auto obstacle equals that. It's not auto. This is C#. Var obstacle equals that. Obstacle dot carve in. Is that what they call it? This obstacle will make a cutout in the nav mesh. Yes, that's the whole point. It's true. So this will make the cube carve away navigatable area for enemies, so they avoid it, which is very important to what we're trying to achieve here. Okay, I think with that we actually have something kind of interesting to play with. Fire expected. Don't know if current errors or not. We'll find out. see what we get, shall we? Matrix. Sure. Sorry, I'm just like thinking to myself, okay, now we're gonna do another web build, and I'm hoping that doesn't take forever. Alright, so I should be able to hit Q, place these things. I should try to avoid them. It's like reverse Plinko. It's like very slow reverse Plinko, right? Not bad. Sort of works. Sort of does the thing that we need it to do. They kind of know what they need to accomplish here, I would say. It's sort of weird too, though, that they kind of feel like they're converging toward the left. Not sure why that is. Maybe it's because I probably overlooked something here. World position.z equals goal position.z. Not sure why that is, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that too much. But I think this might be a cool place to do another build and really hope that it doesn't take so tremendously long as last time. So wish me luck, I guess. Let's do a build and run. And I think that build and run in this particular case is a little bit faster than a full build and run. I'm looking at my processor value. They're inching up, but they're not so bad. I'm pretty sure it was Tetrio that was doing it, causing it to be so insane. You need like a super easy game. Let's see, where's the Microsoft Store? Alright, let me do this. Minesweeper. Download. Okay. Using inching up, but still not at 100. It is on the the MS store. I knew it. Right? I think so too. It is pretty early for me too. Getting stuff done. I think we're making decent progress. We're at, you know, there's this thing that I like to tell my students, which is programming sort of follows kind of an exponential curve where, not exactly, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but like there's this area at the beginning where you're not really getting a lot of interesting stuff done. A ton of time is spent that way. And then at some point you reach this productivity level where you're like, okay, I've set the framework for a ton of things to come together, now we can do those things. And we're sort of starting to hit that productivity curve for what we're trying to do here. So I'm pretty confident that within the next hour we can get towers shooting, and maybe from there we can sort of play with different types of towers, and who knows, like it's only an hour, but we still get some stuff going, which should be pretty interesting. CPU spiked for a minute there, but now it's back down to around 50%, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let's open the Microsoft Store, I guess. Anyone playing any good games these days? Downloading stuff. Let's hope that that doesn't break it. Probably won't. Hope it won't. Speed is not usually a bottleneck for me, but you never know. Oh my god, we got Minesweeper, folks. Oh, this looks so jank. That's okay. Alright, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, consider supporting the stream a little bit. Donate $1, and the donate link is here if you are interested. This month's charity is another COVID response one because the United States is pretty out of control still. I take my time to research fiscally responsible charities. But anyways, if you want to support the stream a little bit, I will give you the chance to kind of steer the next time we do this. And tell me what kind of game you want to see. Let's go, I guess, medium. There's 2 there, which means that one of these is gonna be thing. Okay. I haven't played this in a while. Okay, so that's good. These will be all thingy. That's a thingy, so that's not a thingy. That is a thingy. Waiting for things to build. Best game. T-Based donated $3. Oh snap! Hi T-Based. I didn't even know you were here. How are you doing today? How is your Sunday morning going so far? You are so awesome. I appreciate that. That's really, really cool of you. Honestly, that's very, very cool. We are just waiting for this game to build. Because right now, man, this is the thing that makes me a little sad about Unity. I mean, well, it's sort of a goofy thing to get sad about because, you know, it's more important to make high quality games than it is to make them really, really fast. But it used to be so much faster to build stuff, honestly. But yeah, thanks. Thanks for that donation. It's really appreciated, honestly. Honestly. Who throws a shoe? Honestly. Man, okay. What we got? Okay. Cool. I feel like I'm a really bad conversationalist. Which I guess is sort of not a good quality for a streamer. I need to work on that. I'm trying. I'm doing my best, everybody. Let's see, that's 1 and 2. This will be 2. Here we go. We gotta build. We gotta build, folks. Alright. Let's just make sure that it actually does reasonably what we expect. After about 10 seconds, we're gonna see some dudes march across the screen. Excuse me. I'm gonna throw some stuff in their path and they should get out of the way. Boom. Out of there. Out of there. You can actually kind of like build a wall. If you're fast enough, I guess. Good to hear, good to hear. Alright. Cool. Just drawing all kinds of little obstacles here. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm realizing now that as I do this, I'm gonna be hitting little lag spikes when I do builds. So I need to maybe work on optimizing things in that department. I apologize that you guys might be experiencing a delay right now. We'll figure that out for next time. These guys are really confused because they're like, what do I do? And then what just happened there? That was crazy. Like throwing, like why did they spawn right here in the middle? Something sort of strange is happening there, but that's okay. Not gonna worry about it just yet. Let's throw our new build into the site? Onto the site? That appropriate terminology? No? Watching Otter overload his PC. Hang on, bear with me. I didn't think I was doing anything that messy. just this moment. Is it because I'm trying to run it still? Okay. What on earth is happening? Thanks, Funky. Alright, what? Seriously. Dreamweaver. Get it together, dude. "2020 is not responding." Alright, that's fine. We're gonna kill Dreamweaver. We're gonna start it over. I'm gonna try to be a little more gentle to the Dreamweaver here. In the meantime, I can actually sort of start tinkering with some other ideas. So we need to now create a prefab for our tower. Hang on. Okay, yeah, here it is again. So I'm gonna try to like speed things up a little bit here, or at least try not to confuse Dreamweaver too much. One thing at a time, buddy. We can do it. I believe in you. And I think I should just be able to upload those things. Good to go. Pushing new versions of things. Versions of things to the web. Let's make sure that the web version is correct at this point. So it's otter.com. Here's the link. For anyone who's interested in checking it out with me, here it is. Hit Q to build. You can also use WAS to move the camera if you really want to. You sort of don't have to, though. There's not much going on outside the screen. Creating little obstacles, they should dodge the obstacles. Great, that's the whole game. Try to build a wall, try to trap them. That's the game right now. But it's something, right? And you can always sort of open these things up and play with some of the settings that you've got there. These guys are not having a good time. I think I need to maybe figure out a way for them to avoid each other better. What's kind of funny is that this seems to be changing over time, which is just weird. I think it's sort of... Oh, okay. So they're down here for a split second and then they sort of teleport up here. I wonder why. I should try running that in editor and see if I can spot what's happening there. So let's give it a second. Kind of run. Not a second, more like a minute, let's say. We gotta figure out why that's happening. And it should work on mobile too, so if you're watching on a phone and you want to try it on your phone, just there's a setting up there for enable touch mode. You should be able to tap to place towers. Towers is what we're calling them. And by the way, you could also sort of cheese it a little bit, because you can come up here and you can set X scale to like 10, and that'll make super long, wide things for them to crash into. Like we've just ruined their whole day at that point. Okay. We gotta figure out if this is one of those tower defense games where they shoot back or like have some way to destroy stuff, or if it's one of the ones where they just go off the path and like go around if you try to build a wall like I just did. Let me do another test here. What do you guys think? Which way should we go on that? Do they destroy stuff if there's no way to get through? Do they jump? Maybe they jump. Maybe they just fly over. Do they go around? Do they destroy? Do they go over? I just feel like the big options there. let's do this a bit more, less crazy. Because I just want to debug this issue where it seems like they spawn in the wrong place, you know? It seems to happen if I kind of get, you know, a lot of towers in place. Maybe it has to, maybe I have to trap some of them before it's gonna happen. Weird. Or maybe this could be like there's a fourth option, right? They destroy things if there's no way to get through. They jump over, they go around, or you just, it's one of those games where you can't place things right next to each other. You actually have like a finite defined set of places to put them. That feels like option number 4. Or I guess option number 5 is that you can put them anywhere, but they can never form a wall. You can always go between the towers. That feels like an option too. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about that too much, but what we can do is sort of take a second now to build out an actual tower-like object. Right? Yeah, they gotta blow up towers. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. So maybe this is what our towers are gonna look like. They're gonna be a little bit flat in the y-axis. I don't know how big that, I guess we can sort of see what it ends up looking like. That's a pretty reasonable size, right? Like we could always scale up if we need to. But I think that's a good size. And then maybe this will have another, like a cylinder on top. It's parent to it. And I'll say center, self, a little bit higher. Then I think that I will create child. Call this the turret. And then I attach to that. Where are you actually? Oh, you're gonna be down there. Okay, that's not quite what I meant. So let's put it at like 5? Is that right? Maybe 4? 4 seems chill. 4 seems chill. Alright, and then we will apparent to that another object. We'll make it a cylinder again. It'll be a lot smaller in the X and the Z directions. Even in the Y direction too. And then we're gonna like turn it over sideways. I'm throwing stuff on the floor, but don't mind me. And then we will move it roughly here. So if you look closely enough, you'll see that this sort of empty turret object is at the base, and if I rotate this object, it'll spin around like that. And at least we get some sort of semblance of rotating turret action that's going on. Yeah, minimum distance radiance. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's definitely one of the options. But anyways, this will be our tower. We'll call it our basic tower. Prefab. So with that made, we can now go into our main camera, which I'm starting to feel like is not the right place to be putting certain things. Like, it's not super obvious. Let's call it tower spawner. It's not super obvious that some of our major game logic is happening here in the camera, so let me just copy this component, move it, and then paste it over here. And for the first time, we'll plug in a little tower there so that we actually have a tower. Yeah, I like destroying. And it could be simple. It could be just like, hey, if I get stuck and I'm in the same place for too long, I will just destroy and nuke anything I'm touching. True. Yeah, you could sort of use it to your advantage a little bit. You could throw in another object, we call it a wall, and it doesn't hold them forever, but it does sort of slow them down at least. That would be cool. Excuse me. Okay, so now with this tower in place, hopefully this will put the towers in the right spot, although we'll have to see if it actually places them correctly, because it might sort of push them into the ground or something like that. So we're going to find out how that plays out. When am I adding microtransactions? Sure. Don't. Not gonna make that kind of game, okay? Okay, I don't. Oh, that's right. Okay. I was like, why is it not spawning anything? And it's because this whole section down here is blank still. So we need to fix that. Here we can sort of spawn the actual thing. Let's do game object tower equals instantiate spawn prefab. Let's call it clone, shall we? Spawn prefab at world position with rotation dot, or no, it's quaternion dot identity for like a default rotation, basically. And I think we just leave it at that, because this sort of nav mesh obstacle stuff, I'd rather do that in the inspector than in the code, because, you know, the whole point of writing a good script is you want to not over specify the things that you're trying to do in the code, because you could find a reuse for that script later if you don't do that. If you can do most of it in the inspector, then it adds to the flexibility of what you have when you're done. So I could conceivably write some of this code and then take it into another project later, basically. This thing's starting to choke me a little bit. It's a little tight, a little too tight. Okay, so that means we want to go to our tower. We want to give the tower... I can double click on this, I can open it up. I think we just need to carve from the base, right? We don't need any of the other obstacles to have the nav mesh obstacle, or sorry, any of the other game objects to have that. But we do want the base to do that. So we're just going to carve that out from just the tower sort of base part. I'll just call it base. Prefab name as mesh prefab root game object name. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, fine. We'll keep it tower. That's fine, I don't care. Cool. How do I close this again? Go back. There we go. Alright, cool. So maybe that'll actually do the thing I need it to do. Let's try one more time. And you know what? Every time I do this, I'm like, man, I wish I could fill that dead time with something. But anyways, here's our tower. I guess they're still not going to look very interesting from up above. And they're not going to rotate or anything. They're not going to do anything at all, actually. But at least now we can kind of get some scale impressions. And remember, we can also sort of play with this scale a little bit. So if I decide that I want them just a little bit bigger. Oh, it's not an integer. I won't take an integer. That's weird. Or, I mean, I won't take a float. Kind of wonder why that is. I guess because 1.0 is not going to parse correctly. Probably why. Or one dot is not going to parse. Yeah, I'm getting little errors down here. Okay, I know how I can sort of improve that a little bit. Spawn a cursor. Here, where we do the parsing. I guess I'll do a try. Or rather, let's do this. String x as string equals that without the parsing. Scale x, we'll do a little try catch here. Or just maybe just the try part. Float dot parse. Sorry, it's scale.x equals float.parse x as string. With the try here, it will hopefully produce slightly fewer errors. I know that I'm doing this in the wrong way. Like, not the ideal way, but like I said, this is a prototype. I don't actually care that much. Alright. let's see. Have this whole thing. Heat down here. Y, and Y. Then grab the whole thing again. Heat down here. This will be Z, T, and Z. Get some slightly better feedback on that. Okay, so then what I want to do, and tilt the camera, I can do that. Good idea. I will do that. As soon as Unity catches up to me, I will totally do that. Alright, if we grab the camera, and let's see, I'm trying to think of what is the right axis. It's going to be the x-axis here, so maybe I do 75? We can also try going back to perspective mode. It's going to totally screw up our camera. Okay, maybe I won't do that. Let's stick with orthographic. Problem is, it's going to start to look a little bit strange. Orthographic camera. Kind of no matter what you do, it's going to look a little weird. But this might work. Let's try it this way and just see how we like it. Waiting for loading. Finish. You can see a little bit of action. Yeah, that's better. Anyways, I was just hoping I could do 1.1 now. Nope, still doesn't like it. I guess I kind of know why that's still not really working, but I don't want to focus too much on those details, you know? So let's move on to, let's get these towers looking around and shooting at things. 8. Tower. Maybe a better name for it would be turret. I always do this. I like name a script and then immediately decide that I have a better name for it. Which is a pain in the butt because you have to rename it and then it takes more time and just slows everything down. Seriously, I don't even know what I'm doing that it's changing. Okay, call you turret. Alright, let's jump into that. Tell me, I'm dead inside. Dead inside. What's everybody doing? How's the weather by you? It rained last night. It was pretty cool. I'm glad it rained, but it's also cold, and that kind of sucks sometimes. Tower. What are we doing? Yes, this needs to get renamed to turrets. In the back of my head, I was thinking, okay, we're gonna have to start tagging our enemies. Tagging is a way to identify objects by sort of category. Because what we're going to need to do is for the tower to identify how many enemies are near it. And it can do that by pulling things with an appropriate tag. So let's add another field to this script here. Private string spawn. You know what? The prefab itself can get a tag. So I think for now I'll just add some debug code to add the tag to this guy. Capsule.tag equals enemy I'll sort of cheese it, and hopefully that'll be okay. But on the turret side, I will probably throw that into the actual variables here. Target tag is enemy, let's say. And in addition, we're going to need to know which object it is going to rotate when it, you know, targets or aims or whatever. Base look object. I don't know, I'm really bad at this. And I'm gonna sort of write some quick code here that sets the base look object to this transform. Just so that we have a default section which basically says if I attach this script to something, let's assume the thing I attached it to is the thing that's gonna do the looking. And by looking I just mean rotating to face whatever it's about to shoot. So on update, meaning every frame, it should look at its current target. So I'm going to have a non-serialized thing which says, hey, here's the thing that you're currently targeting. So if there is a target, or if there's not a target, let's say, then do nothing. Yeah, the most common logic for tower defense targeting is like wait until something comes in range and then continue to target the same thing until it either leaves range or is dead. But sometimes you'll have ones that are a bit smarter about detecting how far a target has to reach the goal. And so you might target the ones that are closer to the goal. I'll probably go with the easy version for now, but we can try playing with the other version. We have a little bit of time. Private float range. Let's say range is going to be like 5 by default. Oh, of course we can change that. We can mess with it. Oh, net type safety and faster than string comparison. Instead of tag, use an empty component. Interesting idea. I'll probably save that for another time. I'm just trying to get through simplicity here. Every time I create a script, it bogs things down, you know. But I hear what you're saying. Yeah, makes sense. Although doesn't it hash the string? I thought it hashed it. I thought it was a little bit quicker than actual string comparison. Or are you saying specifically for this one because it's assigning this and it has to check if it's the proper string to be assigned? It's probably true. But this is all debug code. Like right here, I'm considering this all debug, so not really that concerned with it. But again, I hear what you're saying. If the target is null, great. Otherwise, we need to look at the target. So base look object dot look at. There's actually a function called look at, and it's going to look at that current target. And then probably also, meanwhile, we're going to have some sort of interval for it to check for valid targets. It's not going to happen constantly, because if you have things looking through all of the enemies all the time, that's very, very slow. So we're not going to do that all the time. We're going to just have it maybe once a second or something like that. We'll call it float target check interval, and I'll say 1.0f, but we can adjust that. Yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. I hear you. All right, target check interval. Yeah, so we're gonna do invoke repeating. Again, I'm sort of cheesing it. Invoke repeating is not something you would ever have in a real game. It's like super slow, but it's okay. Check for target, and it's gonna be target check interval, target check interval, private void. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Private void check for target. Now here's where it can get interesting. I'm gonna do this the slow way, but I'm gonna write right now, hack. There is a much better, a much faster way to do this. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm just watching the clock and I'm like, we only got half an hour. Let's actually make this a game before I go, you know? So anyways, there's a much faster way to do this, but what I can do is I can say game object enemies or targets, let's say. Let's call this potential targets equals game object dot find objects with tag target tag. And this is going to find every object in the entire scene with that tag. So find all objects tagged as enemies. And then it's going to have to go through them and find out which one is closest to the goal, I guess. I guess I'm sort of... I might be sort of jumping or you know, sort of switching between the two ideas I mentioned earlier, but I think finding the one that's closest to the goal actually feels like the better choice here. Which means that we have to be aware of that goal object as well. So let's create another little spot up at the top. Private transform protected or goal object equals null. You've seen closest to the goal that the tower can finish off completely. Yeah, right? Like, this would be one of those things that I would totally want to put into a debug panel for you guys to kind of play with and see if you like, or if there's some way you can sort of sweet spot you can find, you know? Yeah, I've seen a few different variations on it, I think. So, we're gonna have to do this little loop, which is gonna be messy. I'll do a for each loop, because that's kind of fast. For each potential target, let's say, in potential targets, we're gonna get a distance here. Distance to goal equals vector3 dot distance from, or you know what I could do is I'll do square distance, because I know that's faster and it doesn't take any more work to do it. Equals I have to remember this math. New vector3, or no, I can do something like this. Hang on, I'm trying to think of this. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, actually the trigger method does make sense. I forgot about that. You're totally right. Okay, before I do anything, actually, I want to make sure that we're in distance. So let's call this vector3 path to path from target to turret equals, and to get the path from x to y, you're gonna do y minus x. So this dot transform dot position minus potential target dot transform dot position, and then the square distance would be that dot square magnitude is what they call it. And the reason we do square is because the square root operation can be skipped that way, and that's just a big time savings. Even physics dot sphere cast instead of find game object. Oh, that's true. That could totally work. True. I've sort of committed to this now, but I hear what you're saying. Target tag, range, target, check interval. Sorry, making sure that... Okay, so what I have to do probably is keep a square range as well. So on awake, we're going to say square range equals range times range, basically. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just breaking it up a little bit further. Distance. Okay, so if square distance is greater than square range, then we're kind of done. We just continue on to the next one because that's not a potential target. Target is out of range. So hitting continue here says stop processing for this target, move on to the next one, keep checking. Then we're going to do vector3 path from target to goal equals sort of the same thing, but this time it's goal object dot transform, or it is transform, dot position minus potential target dot transform dot position. And then we get the square distance on that. Yeah, exactly. I can even reuse square distance at this point. Square distance equals path from target to goal dot square magnitude. Then we're just gonna have to do like a pretty standard algorithm here where we check all of these and find the minimum, the lowest one. So let's do float min square distance to goal equals math f dot infinity. You usually start at infinity and you basically say anything that's smaller than that number is going to be the smallest that we found so far, and you just sort of iteratively recheck that. Everything smaller than infinity, so even the very first one will be a proper target. So you say if square distance is less than min square distance to goal, then that is the square distance, or the min square distance. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I would do that for sure. Distance. Yes. Okay. And also we have to keep track of which index it is, which actually is probably not going to work so great with our for each loop. So we have to change that to a for loop. We just sort of don't have access to the integer or to the index. Potential targets. Length. Oh, I'm gonna screw everything up until I fix that. Length. I mean, it's capital L length, right? Plus I. Game object. Potential target. Potential target at index I. We're just changing the way that we do the loop. It's the same basic logic, like 100%. Int closest, or you know what I could do? I just realized this. I probably could have just done this all along, but it's fine. Game object closest equals null. Closest equals potential target. I didn't actually need the index after all. I didn't think about that. That's cool. Okay, and then if we got to the end and there was no closest target, like if it's null, then we're still done. There's nothing else to do because that means there's absolutely no targets within range. But if we don't, or if we do have a target, then we can say current target equals closest, which I suppose I could have simplified by just using current target the whole time, but that's all right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to do that because then I would have potentially overwritten it just while checking. So yeah, I think I want to stick with that. Stat transform. Okay, so we're constantly looking, and on an interval, we're checking for new targets. Feel like we can do this. We're gonna see some looking happening. We're gonna see some targets selected. That's a good way to check what we've done so far. I hope. Assuming that I didn't mess something up. So let's find out what we get. Stretch. There's actually a service that Unity provides called Cloud Build, where they'll make builds on a server somewhere, and I was hoping that I had access to that, but it costs money, and I don't have the desire to spend money on that, if I'm being totally honest. But anyways, let's grab our tower, and I think what I'll do is throw the turret script on here, but I'm going to pull the turret as the base look object in the prefab itself, Everything else I think is fine. However, I need to be able to tell the tower what the goal object is, and I can't do that until I spawn it, which means that I have to adjust my spawn cursor script a little bit. So I'm going to throw in a thing here. Basically, every object in the game is going to, at some point, understand what the target is. Although, I guess I could do that by tag. Maybe that's a better way to do it. I'm thinking that is a better way to do it. So I'm going to make this a non-serialized object. Instead, I'm just going to serialize a goal object tag. Goal object equals game object dot find with tag goal tag dot transform. Did I do that right? No, I did not do that right. Hang on. Cool. Right? Yeah, totally. I mean, obviously I'm not going to finish this today, so I'll probably just have to continue it another time. But yeah, I definitely want to kind of play with the multiplayer aspect of this. So hopefully find that target. I'll probably have some errors here and there because I'm not being very safe about anything. I'm not putting little checks to make sure that we actually did find a goal target or any of that stuff. So there's going to be little bugs, I'm sure. Although I think Defense Grid did a pretty good job of replay value because you can, you know, win medals for doing better. And there's just a ton of like min-maxing that you can do, which I mean, honestly, I find it really challenging to figure all that stuff out. A lot of space there that I just never was able to master. Let's deal with tags real quick. Yay. Let's add a tag. I've got a tag for enemy that I need to make sure that I create, and then a tag for goal, which I just created. Okay, so the goal is going to get the goal tag. The enemies are getting that enemy tag already. Hope that means I figured it all out. I'm like running through my head. Are there other things that I need to do that I haven't done? Here, build is there. Tower has the script. Script knows what it's doing. Okay, I think this is good. Let's try it. Exactly. That's what I tell people. You know, if you find bugs, totally on purpose, just for laughs. Alright, let's see. You. See if anything happens. Oh, there we go. They're looking. They're looking. You saw that? You saw that? Okay, that's all they're doing. They're still just looking, but it's something, right? All right, so then we can do a little check here. Target check interval. Let's do another interval for fire interval. So maybe every 2 seconds they can shoot. And for now, we can do some sort of debuggy looking stuff. That sound right? Yeah, sure. Every 2 seconds seems okay. Invoke, repeating again. Shoot. Fire interval. Fire interval. Private void shoot. If current target is null, do nothing. second, everybody. Actually, I'll save that for just a moment. Otherwise, we're gonna just really hack the heck out of this. We're just gonna destroy current target dot game object. I think target might be a transform. So yeah, we'll destroy the entire game object that they're targeting, which will remove it from the list, and we should see it disappear and all that good stuff. So very, very quick and dirty, simple way of checking this out. And now I will respond to my text. We almost have like something actually fun, maybe. So at least you'll be able to like throw towers in there and just create walls and stuff, play around with it. I'll definitely do another build at the end of stream so you guys can play it. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I'll probably put the build up on the page as well, so if you like, and when I say build, I mean the project. So if you want to, you can grab Unity. You can get all this stuff for free that I used today. You can grab Unity and kind of open it up if you really want to. If you want to check it out. Let's see how we do here. I need to add debug panels for the towers. Nice, nice. All right, so that's the thing. That's cool, right? Shenaniganeries right there. Okay, spawn area. Let's add some debugging to all of this stuff. I think that's what would be kind of cool to give you guys before we go today. We drawable. Yes, indeed. Implement that. Okay, spawn a cursor. Let's grab the stuff that's pretty much identical to all of these things. Fine. Then draw GUI. We're gonna do similar stuff to the GUI that we were doing with all the other stuff. So it's bool, private bool, show debug panel. It's false. Grab all that same stuff from down here.
You have reached the voicemail box of Kino.
And this will be enemy spawner debug right here. And what do we want to do? I guess the only really interesting things to play around with are going to be wave size, spawn interval. Probably, right? Yeah, I'd say so. So let's just kind of look at what we were doing over here. And again, I wish that, I mean, if I had more time, I'd make this way cleaner. I keep doing some pretty sort of gross things, but let's call it enemies per spawn. What's the variable that we're looking at? Wave size. Or wave, yeah, enemies per wave, let's call it. So we're gonna go anywhere from 1 to 100, let's say. Seems right, reasonable, right? Cannot implicitly convert from float to int, so I have to just convince it that I'm okay with that. And we don't have to worry about float type stuff. So I don't need to do the try catch mess. I'll say wave size equals wave size dot toString. Also converting it to an int or int.parse, is that a thing? I guess it is. Cool. So that's going to be one nice little thing, and then the other one is going to look very similar but different. And this one will be seconds between waves. This I think I called wave interval. Spawn interval. There we go. Spawn interval. I suppose you could go from anywhere from 0.1 second to, I don't know, 100. Why not? String equals that. This one can be a float, so I'm having to do the whole parse thing. But I think that should be a good place to go. And then lastly but not least, the target, or the turret, sorry. Might actually stay a few minutes long, so if you guys can hang around, I might go to 2:30. Thinking about it anyway. Because there's a couple other things that I'm thinking of just to kind of clean up a little bit. That's okay. GUI drawable. Okay, there's that. Sorry, I like things to be in proper order. This always happens before awake. Awake always happens before on enable. You know, and so on. GUI drawable. Same old story. We're gonna have a bool, private bool. Show debug panel equals false. Copy a ton of this stuff over again. And we return false. And then what do we want to do with this? The turret. It occurs to me actually. I think I want this to be a little different, come to think of it. Because the problem that I'm foreseeing here with the turret is if I just let every turret draw a panel, then if I spawn 4 of them, there's going to be 4 panels. If I spawn 100 of them, it's going to be trying to draw 100 different panels. I definitely don't want that. I think that I just want private bool, static bool has registered and debug panel equals false. I'm gonna say if has not registered debug panel, then register it true, and then GUI controller dot add drawable this. So basically, because I make it static, every single turret will share the same value for this, so it will only do it once. That's the idea anyway. Okay, so what are the things that we could play with here? We can play with the range, target check interval, and fire interval. These all seem reasonable. So very similar to before, floats for everything. I really do need to make this a lot cleaner. There's certain kinds of things where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll make that better, and I just hop right into it, but for other things I will just do it the wrong way 100 times before I finally realize, okay, I could have saved myself a lot of time if I just cleaned this up and did it right, you know. But c'est la vie. Spawn interval is that? No, we're not doing spawn interval, we're doing range first. Let's call this turrets. Sorry, I don't realize. Yeah, okay. Right. Range equals that. Range could be anywhere from, let's say 1.0f to 100, that's fine. Range here, range there. that. Do it again. All this. What do I call it? Sort of hide a bunch of stuff. Make it easier. Target check. Seconds between target check. Target check interval. Here. 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 Target check interval, let's go as low as 0.1 F. Because if you don't have too many turrets, it's not so bad. 100 seconds seems ridiculous. Probably I wouldn't really go any higher than like 2 seconds, so let's do that. Great, and then one more. This would be seconds between shots. So this will be fire interval. I think you can go, yeah, that's probably the same range, is probably fine. Okay, I'm trying to think of any other potential problems with what I'm committing here. Right, so the turrets are not going to share these values. It's only going to be one of them getting these values. So I actually need to share them with all of the other turrets. And this is all debug stuff, so I kind of like to keep debug stuff in a separate place. So I'm going to very clearly mark that. What we're going to need to do is keep a list of all of our turrets. So private, static, let's do static step up top. Private static list, which I need to include system.collections.generic. We need to keep a list of all turrets in the game. Which is probably where my enable disable thing will come in handy. Void on enable all turrets add this. Can I actually do a set? Is that a thing? Set. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it. Fine. On disable all turrets dot remove this. Just keeping that nice and clean, and then like here's what I'm honestly gonna do. Define debug here. If I define debug, that basically says I am going to consider this a debug build, and I can use that to actually explicitly easily remove things that are or are not debug. I can say if debug, then we're gonna have this stuff. But like later on, if I take this out, I can take all that stuff away. I think. I hope. It's not doing what I wanted it to do. I wonder if debug is actually built in. Probably is. Let's do GUI debug. How about that? There we go. So if I take that out, then this stuff also gets removed, and it's a nice handy way to be able to quickly remove some, especially like really nasty debug stuff, like really slow stuff. I want to have a way to do that. So I'm gonna basically use this to guard every single piece of what I'm doing that's pure debug. That doesn't have any purpose other than for debugging. Which I think is also including this. Shoot, and then of course, everything in draw GUI falls into that category too, but yeah, I think I probably will go ahead and put if GUI debug here as well. If. So then I'll do float new value equals this. If new value is not the same as previous value, then for each var turret, I can look into window. What I love about GUI layout is just that I don't have to think about where to put stuff. I guess GUI window does have, like, you can drag it over and stuff, right? Maybe I should check that out. You're right. Turret in all turrets. Yeah. In all turrets. Turret dot range equals new value. So this will actually make sure that all of the turrets get updated in the proper way. This one's going to be target check interval. This is fire interval. Yeah. Okay. Cool. The only other thing I could think of that we could try would be like enemy movement speed and stuff. But I think that might be getting sort of into the realm of diminishing returns is the phrase I was looking for. I was stalling while I thought of that phrase. Is this cool? Is this interesting? What do you guys think? Having fun? Let me make sure that this stuff basically works, and then I'll make a new build. Do 100 enemies, and we'll do one every 10th of a second. Oh, it's not gonna actually work. Not the interval part. That part won't work. Gotta love it. Epic. But let's see if the tower thing works. Turret. Let's do much larger range. Let's do less time between shots, and they should just sort of mow these guys down. But yeah, the timing thing isn't going to work for that either. I have to change the code a little bit. I have to change that code a little bit. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So we're gonna have to cancel some invoking, or sorry, cancel some intervals, invocations of intervals, and redo those invocations. Oh, yeah, memory leaks can be less than fun. Okay, so drawing the GUI here, I need to change stuff here. So I'm gonna say cancel invoke of spawn wave. Cancel all invoke calls. Yeah, that'll work. That's fine for this. But I'll cancel the, because an invoke repeating is like, call this function every X seconds. I have to cancel the last one and then do the new one at the different speed. And then the same sort of thing will happen for these guys. Check, so I have to do that here. Specifically, I have to say turret.cancel invoke. Let's try this a little bit. Why are you less friendly to me than I want you to be? There's obviously a second version of this function. Why won't you show me that version of the function? Okay, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Please. Alright, check for target. And then reset that one. Turret.invoke repeating. It's actually funny because I suppose I don't really need this line at all. Oh, did you actually put Imgui on yours? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Say it. That's cool. I didn't realize they had a sort of standalone if that's the case. What's the other function that I'm calling here? Shoot. Cancel invoke for shoot. Plus fire interval here. Here. Let's see how that does. I mean, yeah, all that benefit that you get from Unity, just being able to hit play and see what's happening. Like, yes, that should be in every engine for sure. Come on, baby. These are the short builds. These are the short wait times. We should do dance stream, you know. Okay. Enemy spawner. Let's turn up the enemies and turn down the interval. It's gonna get a little insane. I might have, I might break stuff if I do this, actually. It looks like I did actually entirely break stuff. Not sure how. Oh, that sucks, man. Yes, I know what I did. Okay, I have to do this part of it as well for the spawner. Currently it's like every frame seeing and thinking that I'm changing the speed, even though I'm not really changing the speed. But because it thinks that I am changing the speed, it's going to cancel and restart and keep waiting, and it does that every single frame, so it never goes anywhere. I think I have to check and make sure that I actually did change it. If I didn't, there's no work to do. But if I did change it, then there's work to do. So that's what I think is going on. Occasionally get people like students coming to me with this problem of, hey, I can't get my animation to play. And this, I think, was mostly back when I was teaching Flash, and it would be like, it's stuck on the first frame of the animation. And I had to kind of explain to them, okay, well, if every single frame you're telling them to go back to the first frame, then all you're ever going to see is the first frame. I had to figure out something in their logic that was telling them to do that. Okay. It's always worth it to try that just once, right? Like the absolute madness that ensues from that many enemies. How's my CPU doing? It's okay, actually. Let's try a little bit less insane this time, shall we? Fortunately, they're not... I mean, I guess they're kind of part of the physics system, but they don't have rigid bodies, so there's not a ton of math going on there. Okay, so let's do more enemies per wave, but let's not do them quite so crazy. And then we will go to create a tower, a couple towers, increase their range a little bit, and decrease their shot time. Actually, it's kind of a bum test because, well, maybe not that bad. I know, right? Isn't that awesome? Seems like the range thing is not working. Or at least it's sort of not working the way I would expect, because they're waiting really long to target things. And maybe it's just because the ones that go up top of the screen are not disappearing right now. In fact, I guess there's not really anything to force them to disappear at all. so I can sort of take a look and see what's happening here. Definitely feels like the range is not updating properly. No worries, no worries. I've got 15 minutes or so before I'll wrap up, but I'll make sure the build is out there. What's going on with this? Okay, range. That guy. Not what I want. Check for target. Right. Okay. Yeah, it's not actually updating, so I need to update square range as well. That's what I'm missing. Right. Range. Range is that, and then turret dot square range equals range times range. You know, new value times new value. Which makes me wonder, actually, did I do that correctly? No, this should be new value, new value, new value, new value, because they were using the old value, actually. New value. New value. Okay, let's give that one more test. Then at least we got some kind of action going on. Try this again. Gotta be arc, huh? That range, check interval, yes, lower all the intervals, and then enemy spawner, let's do 100, see how they do. Poppin' balloons, man. This is Balloons TD remix. Seems pretty reliable, actually. They're doing a pretty good job of targeting the ones that are going to be towards the top of the screen more. I think what I want to do probably is set up a trigger just outside of range. I guess that's the thing. If we do have camera movement, we don't have to constrain our gameplay to the screen. I like how they literally seem to explode outward. That's pretty cool. It looks really neat. Maybe the range of 100 is like a bit extreme. Let's do like 10. They definitely seem like they're skewing though, right? Like they're building, like they're in the shape of a bow tie, which is weird. This poor guy over here has nothing to do half the time. Now honestly, I think the next thing that I'd want to do is to let you set up like different tower types. I also feel like I'm not going to have time to do that in 15 minutes, so maybe I won't even attempt it right now. Maybe what I'll do instead is let's build. Do build. From that build shall come wonders for all. But in the meantime, do some Minesweeper. Played this game for a while. I have not played this game that much. I don't even know what I did. I guess maybe I ran out of time. Hard. Alright, we got that. one of these has to be it, so it's not that one. Has to be it. That one. Oh, that's not what I meant. Wrong button. Okay, so. And this is fine. This is fine. Ugh, not paying attention. One of these two has it. These two definitely do. That one's safe. These are safe. These two are safe. No? And I'm dropping the ball. I think my big Minesweeper days were college. Never really got into it before then. And haven't since either. Waiting for the build. Riveting Minesweeper bit. Fine. We won't use it. Save this one. I have like no food in my house. No snacks, I should. It's kind of BS to say that you got no food in your house. One of these two, so that's gotta be it. There, this one. And you're safe. You're safe. 1 and 2, 2, 3, 2. Go. That's your 1, that's your 2. 2, 3, 4. 2. Good to go. 2, 3. 2, 3. Four minutes. 4 minutes and 5 seconds. We are making some progress. 1 and 2 and 3. 2. 2. Two, 2. These two's gonna. Eyes have it. Not sure where to go on a lot of this. Okay, here we go. Safe, safe. 2, 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2, 2. Maybe one of these two. This one. 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1. Sorry, not exactly riveting content, I know. What do you guys like to do when you're waiting for stuff to build? Or if you're not a developer, what do you do when you're waiting for food to bake? You know, something along those lines. 1, 2. 2, 3, 2. Oof, here we go. Let's go. Make sure this doesn't break in any ridiculous way. Turrets are gonna have much faster shooting. I'd say probably you want your target checks to be at least as fast as your shots. I definitely like having the enemies spawn a lot. I wonder if, like, maybe every 10th of a second is a little insane. Maybe that's too much, but having a lot is kind of fun. Now they're doing that thing again. What does that mean? That. Maybe that's too much. Go back to like 10. At least. Sorry guys, I sort of overloaded the game here. This is nonsense. Nonsense. Whose crazy idea was this? Who did this? Banned. Banned! Kidding. Of course. Just kidding. Increase range. Let's throw more turrets in there. Turrets. These turrets are double. We need to clean up these streets, man. Crime is getting out of hand. Bring in the big guns. Look at that. It's so weird how they explode in these random looking places. Gotta be something funky in my logic. Just a little funky though, not real funky. Alright you guys, it's about time that I upload that, and I think I'm gonna call it the end of development for today. I realize that there's been a little stream lag, so I want to give you guys a second to catch up, say goodbyes and whatnot. We'll definitely find someone to raid. Maybe we'll see if someone else is doing anything sort of creative and cool. Let's see what else is going on. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, rest of your weekend, rest of whatever else you got going on. I think the upload should be in progress now. Let's try that out. So I gotta give it a minute here. No, not test game. You can try test game if you guys want to try test. It's really not a game. GD Wars is here. Did it, you guys. We did it. Make sure that it does the basic stuff that we expect from it. I want him to shoot faster. That's really the main thing I think is fun. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. Range just seems to be really, really short. Like, it seems like the range number that you put in is much higher than the actual range. Anyways, let's go see who's online. I have a couple friends who do development and stuff, so maybe they're busy. Something cool. But yeah, it's been fun. Hangs and outs. Baz up to? What's Baz up to today? Let's see what Baz is doing. Maybe he's got something cool going on. For sure, I'll definitely do this again. Oh no, okay, Baz is doing like a 150-hour stream or something, and he's currently sleeping, so that's not exactly riveting content. Alright, let's go say hey to Kamikaze Ace. I think we've seen him before together. Spelling that right. He's doing Cyberpunk, and I'm sure that everyone's got Cyberpunk on the brain, at least a little bit. But